Peace, 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 peace to everybody. Man, I tell you, it's serious. It's serious out here. It's serious. Now, remember while you're walking your road, your very own road, and as we are assigned by the Great Spirit to gather together, we gather all the things that our ancestors left within us, right? Because the truth only lives within us, and as we seek it, we remember as we put it back together, because our dismembered selves causes us to come in pieces, even if we do come in peace. But what I find amazing is how these res or preservation people, they consider themselves Aboriginal, they consider themselves Indians, but then they go tell you not to consider yourself an Indian, and that this Aboriginal movement is just abhorrent. Basically, it's a like, how could you? How dare you? And what I have noticed in my journey is that even with speaking to someone who was of Pequot and Wampanoag descent, they said that the family member that was doing the genealogy was supposed to present it and show everybody all the information at a family reunion as they got together, and the person withheld the information purposely and then disappeared on the entire family. So you're going to find roadblocks by those who look just like you. You know what I'm saying? That look just like you. They look just like me. They now, as they sit there and they may interview someone who is clearly of Mongoloid or Caucasian descent that might have a drop of blood, I mean, they're so dewy-eyed. They're like, oh my goodness, how did you know you were? And where did you? Oh, we love you and everything. Oh my goodness, whatever your Indian name is. Oh my goodness, how did you get it? Oh, it's so magnificent. Oh, we love you. But when it comes to this Aboriginal movement, where, hey, and it's a movement, it's moving. It's not sitting still. There's no stagnation on it. We got all kind of people. We got all kind of shades, you know what I mean? We got A1, we got Dane, we got Karimio, we got, Ab Powell, we got Aboriginal Love. We got all these people, man, Newtill. We got all of these people. And then the elders, the Thousand Gold Head, and Ab the Legend, and Johnny Aborigine, and those cats who was doing it. And, here you go with the so-called whoever's saying that they started everything. What do you mean you started everything? The information was just there. And just like everything else, it seems you usurp it in time to make it seem like it was yours. How was it yours? Just because you put your name on something does not mean that it belongs to you. So we got to remember, he who controls the printed page controls the thinking of the age. We also got to remember that the pen is mightier than the sword, and that's how everything has happened, through acts, through these different laws and everything. It's paper genocide, and they just rewarded people with trinkets, man. Just like you accept everything for value. Christopher Columbus was the first Christian on there. Christopher Columbus is the Christ. Let's get that established right now. He was the very first Christian to come here. His name Christopher is the Christ offerer. It means the Christ bearer, right? So he's the first one to bring the Christian religion here. He was the Christ bearer. He also brought the first Muslims, Louis de Torres and all these other guys these were all Negroes, man. Navigators, these were all Negroes. And this is why you'll see even until the 1800s that most of the West, even, Florida, was Spanish controlled. The Spaniards, the Moors. The Moors are Spaniards, the Europeans, right? But they finally were able to come over here in 1492. Now Now check this out. 711 to 1491. I'm a numbers guy, so I do 711. That adds up to 9. How? 7 plus 1, 1 is 9. Or 11 plus 7 is 18. 1 and 8 is 9. Right? And then 1491 is when they were said to have lost power. Well, 1 4 is 5, 9 is 14, plus another 1. That makes it 16. That makes it 15. And then that resolves to 6. So you have your 9 and your 6, which is chaos. Right? Why is it chaos? Because balance is when you rotate each number 180 degrees, which is 18 is 9, 1 and 8 is 9, which is the number of God, number of consciousness, and the number of enlightenment, right? So now when you rotate that 96, you have balance. You have balance. This is what the 6 nations on this planet are waiting for. They're waiting for the urban Negroes. Steve Coakley said it. He said he was told by a so-called white man that the urban Negro would be the only one who could save the planet. And that is all of us who have been put on these reservations, these inner cities reserved, right? That's where the true reservations. When you look at the projects and you look at these inner cities, those are capacitors, man. I was driving back from Florida, from the ancestral garden. I make sure I stop in South Carolina. My 3rd, 4th, and 5th great grandparents that are buried there. Sometimes I drive to Alabama. I do the same thing. I'm in the cemeteries getting information. I don't have to read 50,000 books. I've read more books, and I'm still continuing to read books. Sometimes I read 2 books. I'm reading a book while I got an audio book going, and I'm stopping, clipping, bookmarking, and all this other stuff, paying attention. Oh, and I dropped out of high school. Got my GED, but I dropped out of high school. I could read, though. I could always read. I was one of the best spellers as well. But, the ancestors end up sending this information. And as I was coming back, and I was coming through New York, I saw the moon. It was a beautiful full moon, man. And the moon looked like it wanted to cry because of all of the beautiful Indians that are trapped inside these capacitors. These places that drain your energy. They draw your energy. They were built by terrorists. Everything was built by terrorists on this soil that is out of nature. But they used our people, your people, our people to build it. They said that they would reward them. So they gave them European trinkets. They gave them all this BS. So now all these projects of capacitors, a church, a mosque, all of that stuff is foreign. Islam, Christianity, Moorish science, all of that stuff has nothing to do. They hated us because we were still connected to the Great Spirit and we acted within nature. This was one of the last places on the planet that was, sure. I'm not saying that there weren't any bad ones. Yes, there weren't. But even as Pizarro came through and met with Moctezuma, he had already heard about the prophecy of the arrival of the white-skinned God. So he kind of, he thought he was going to get some help, not realizing that here, this is the arrival. But they were coming via the Negroes of Europe. So if we put everything into perspective, right? Let's say that the Moor is your lower self. Let's say that it's the greed. When you hear the word amor, that means love, and the vanity that comes with it means, to be loved is to be amor. Everything is amor. If you speak to amor is everything. I mean, amor is a spider. Amor is a mosquito. Amor is a tire on a car. Amor is a headlight on a motorcycle. There's nothing that isn't Moorish if you speak to a Moor, right? But in reality, they're just staking their claim. And you have to either accept or reject it, right? So as they came over, they were hiding behind this so-called, and I say this with all due respect, and I'm still continuing my journey, things change, information changes as we get it, and I'm just presenting where I am. All right. Now, this is all rights reserved. I'm not here to hurt anybody. As a matter of fact, I have a whole lot of brothers and sisters who identify as white or Caucasian or whatever. I've never saw a white person in my life. I've never saw a black person either. But what happens is people identify with this, destination because of the benefits or the drawbacks. But so in the 1400s, 1500s, they were depicted as wild men. You can go into I'm in Boston, and go to the Museum of Fine Arts. You can see the Moor as he was being attacked by this so-called wild man. Now, that could be perspective, because how you see something will determine what it means to you. And your eyes are just the windows to your brain and the windows to the soul. Now, one may see them as attacking the Moors, or this may be the act of the Moors so-called civilizing them. And we know that when the word civilize is applied, that just means subjugated, and that just means enslaved, or teaching them to subjugate and enslave others wherever they end up landing. But since there was no sunscreen, you could not have a large amount of them exposed on ships and all this other stuff. So, but again, the power, the illusion of the power that comes with the whiteness is just that. It's an illusion. And again, the game was given to these tassas, as they would say, and that allowed them to create documentation. Now, silence is also consent. So if somebody is presenting something to you, you have the authority to accept or reject it. Everything in life, right? So now, as these people came over, the Tassas, all they did was offer things, small trinkets, trifles, little things. They offered it to the chiefs, or they offered it to some of the people. That caused a rippling effect, right? There was a movie called The Gods Must Be Crazy back years ago in the 80s, and it was in Africa, and there was this Caucasian man who was he was from Britain, but you would think that he was from Australia, but he was from Britain, and as they was flying over Africa, they dropped a bottle of soda. They dropped a soda bottle out, right? Coca-Cola bottle. Now, this bottle was empty, but they had never seen it before. So they brought it back to their camp, and everybody wanted it. And they started going crazy, hitting each other over the head and all this crazy stuff, until the one man said, "You know what, this is from the devil. I got to throw it off the end of the earth." So he grabbed it, and he started walking far away to throw it off the edge of the earth. Now, when you see these brothers and sisters out here who got the Coke bottle dropped on them, or the Louis Vuitton, or these foreign names, there goes the hawk over there, got to blow it a kiss. Thank you for allowing me to have a higher perspective, and to thank you. But you got all of them with the Europeans, and they all this stuff they've accepted for value, and it continues to devalue all of the beauty inside. Think of 4 letters: ATGC, adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. Those are 4 letters that create your DNA, your genetic code, the sequence. It's over 3 billion letters long. All of your ancestors exist in you, and they left you some information. And you are the soil walking upright. All right? So you got all of this brilliance, but you've been convinced that value is only via what you put on yourself. The value is your blood. The blood that flows through you. And that blood cannot be taken from you. It can be spilled, but this is your existence. This is your journey here. This is your human experience. It's a beautiful one, man. The Creator said, I'm going to give him fingernails, nose hairs, I'm going to give her a breast, womb, the portal of life to get her here. We're going to give him the penis and the testicles and you watch nature at its finest. I love to see a pregnant woman. I love to see a woman pregnant. I do. It's life. It's nature. It's like, wow, So we trade all of that in for a foreign car. We talk about cavemen, cave women. We become cavemen. Come on, man. What did they used to do? What did they used to do? It was like, yo, I want to get me a woman. Boonga boonga, whatever they would say. So he would grab his club and he'd go out, hit a woman over the head, and then drag her back home by her hair. What do we do now? We get dressed, we go to the club, beat a woman in the head with the BS, and we drag her back to the house so she can get an abortion. Then that baby gets put in some pills and then they sell it as male testosterone or something. Come on, man. That's what we want. That's where we at. It's just the respect and the regard for life. Nature is waiting for us to ascend to who we are, this aboriginal identity. And meanwhile, we got people who are on the res, or fez res, or whatever. I mean, they totally hate this new information that is coming to the minds of the people. Listen, if the church was going to work, it would have worked. If the mosque was going to work, it would have worked by now. If the more science would have worked, it would have worked by now. Around 1919, excuse me, we was getting attacked heavy. We were getting attacked heavy. I mean, they was taking all the land. They was creating an environment to get you to abandon it. That's what they really wanted. This is what the terrorists do. They wanted you to abandon the land, right? But then they sent in Manny Rivera, the Cape Verdean, started International House of Prayers. I spell prayers with an E, P-R-E-Y-E-R-S, because they pray on you, right? So that International House of Prayer, oh my goodness, body, I mean, and all your money left, because the money was in the land. The people had money. It was in the land. Gone. Noble Drew Ali, same time. Boom. Knocking on people's door, hammering them. He still was making 15 grand. It was either a week or a month. Something back in the 1920s. Right? All CIA. Come on, man. Huh? Who else was in there? Elijah Muhammad was in his class. Was studying under him. You see these Scottish rites? Scottish black rights. These are the blackish rights. Who else you got? You got Freemasons, Prince Hall, all these Negroes selling you out. Huh? Well, the brother said that Tecumseh was a Freemason. Yeah, I'm sure he was. Tecumseh was willing to do whatever he could to save his people. Right? Am I right or right? Tecumseh was, that dude got down to Alabama, where my people are from, the Alabama Indians. They, and that's on my mother's side. That's also on my father's side. Some upper, middle, but see, the name Creek is just a fiction. But when Tecumseh came through there, and he tried to create this alliance with Big Warrior and Little Prince, he was so disappointed in them. Said something to the fact that where I could stomp and their whole village would fall. But he was gonna stomp later on with those New Madrid earthquakes. Yeah, Yeah, the shooting star. It's my man. Dumpshoes, my man. Natakula Kulas, Dragon Canoe, Metacom. These are my people, man. They might not be my family. Tuscaloosa. Punched DeSoto in the face. 7-foot tall brother, meaning black warrior. Right? Come on, man. He was the first 7-footer to throw a hook. I had to set Kareem Abdul-Jabbar right one day. He probably didn't see my comment, but I had to let him know this was the first brother to throw the hook. Pay you some respects, you know. But again, I never disrespect the elders. I would never watch anybody hurt the elders. But there are elders who have sold us out, and they do not wish to see us back in the position of power because they are so comfortable with what they have received and they are receiving from the government. And this is all rights reserved, information and educational purposes only. So all rights reserved. But what they receive, right, is that's good enough for them. And they don't want y'all to go in there and mess up that good thing, even though they under the jurisdiction. They'll tell you they're Indian. They'll tell you they're Native American. They'll tell you they're Aboriginal. But they're getting mad at you. My documentation that I served to the government has me as, I said the tribes that I was from. And I also said Aboriginal American Indian, and I sent them the definition and where they could find it for the words that I use, because law is a linguistic trap. And if you don't define your definitions, then they will use general definitions because they speak a language called legalese. And legalese is English with different definitions. And when you hear the word English, you have to know that it comes from angels, the fallen angels. That's angelish, right? They've stolen words peanut butter and jelly. Chili comes from the word, from the Cherokee word for jelly, right? And so much. It's not just that, but we got so many different words that were basically just hijacked. But so the English language is a language of trap, and there used to be a game, a toy back in the days called Speak and Spell, right? So whatever you say, you cast on yourself. So this is why it's important for us to even learn the days each day, you know. So we're not in a week days, as they say. Your body is not W-E-A-K and a D-A-Z-E, because the days of the week that you sacrifice your life to Tiu, who is the son of Odin. Wednesday comes from Odin himself, or Woden. Thursday comes from his son Thor. Tiu is Thor's brother, right? And Freya, Friday, is named after Thor's mother. Right? So now, these days, you earn a living. U-R-N. You burn yourself out for your job. Your job don't even recognize you. And you're not on a plantation anymore, which had you dealing with plant and life. Now you're on a corporation. Right? And this corporation does not recognize anything you do. They'll have you working all day and night so that they can siphon your energy, make you sick, keep you away from the sun, steal your children, and plant all kind of perverted stuff in their mind and send them home to you. And you wonder why your children don't listen, because you planted in their mind, planted in their mind that we're not smart enough to teach you, so we're going to send you somewhere else. Dr. Sebi said it the best. He said, we're the only species on the planet Earth that send our children to be taught by somebody else. And we're supposed to be the most advanced species on the planet. You don't see polar bears sending their children to a gorilla. We, as wolves, send our children to chickens who are actually dressed as wolves, but they have the weapons to chop out the minds of the little baby cubs, and by the time they get some kind of consciousness, it's almost too late, because everybody else around them is so in a week daze, that they end up fighting. And when you see people fighting, what are they fighting for? Information. That's it. That's what everybody fights for. Your information and my information is different, so now we must go to war. Excuse me. Your information and my information is different, so now instead of us putting the information down, right, and having a civil and cordial, not civil, but having some sort of a adult interaction when we find ourselves traveling down the wrong road, right? What do? We go into insults. We go into little jabs here and there, blah, blah, blah. Why? All for who? Who benefits from that? It means you get your master's degree. Your master's degree is the degree of the master, right? Not that you master anything. That just means your master is okay with what you've learned. Good. You've done well. Now, nothing you've learned will be able to help or benefit your people. It would only be able to benefit the system that was designed to destroy the mind and separate your people from nature. We ain't tired yet. Like, not yet. We ain't tired yet. Come on, man. Seriously. Not yet. Right? Man, this Aboriginal power movement, man, is so powerful. This Aboriginal movement is so powerful that it's even shaking up the ancestors and those people who look like us, who were traitors. They weren't just traitors, Traders. They were actually traitors, Traitors. That's who they were. You know, though they're very entertaining and funny. You know, but the reality is, it's not a joke. It's not a game. And this is where it stops. This is where we send them back. You know, the chant Donald Trump was talking about. This guy was talking about make America great again, right? I don't do politics I don't do no religion, I don't do politics and none of that stuff. I don't vote for nobody. And nor should you. You want to find something out, you go look at the Guyana-Rekoa or the Great Law of Peace. You look at that. Some say it's the 14, some say it's the 1500s, some say it's just before 1714. Right? Go look at the Great Law of Peace. And when you get a chance, when you go through it, actually, I want to send you first to the side notes on 42 and 58. Check out the side notes on that. It's crazy. And you'll see why they tricked your people into voting. That's why they sent Stokely, down to knock on my family members' doors on the farms to get them out and to participate. Because guess what? If you're not in the forest, then you don't know if the tree fell or not. The tree falling ain't got nothing to do with you. But when you get there, you got firewood, right? But they sent, different people knocking on the doors and telling them how bad it was in the forest. Like, yeah, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Oh, but you could help those in the forest if you just... You mean to tell me that John Lewis was told that his family could lose the farm? They could lose the farm if he went out to vote? Now they got now with the help of Cherokee and different people, Knights of the Golden Circle, you got Negroes in these the Ku Klux Klan, because they never came up with anything, right? That's the feathered plume serpent. And the Mayan word for serpent is sky, right? So whenever you see them speaking of a serpent, they're talking about the sky. But you've been taught by the demons that everything your people did was demonized, right? So the Ku Klux Klan created this terroristic environment funded by the U.S. government. And they were the U.S. government. and our people ran for their lives. This is threat, duress, coercion. This is 18 USC 241, 242. But see, when you accepted the identity of an invisible person, you don't have any rights. You don't have any. That's why they needed you to bail on who you were. Right? So thanks to guys like Benjamin Hawkins, Walter Plecker, all these people who created, and even before then, but it all started with the Christ bearer. The Christ bearer being Columbus. What SAS, Cairo Omicron was his said to be his autograph or something like that. You see the Cairo on all of these churches, right? This guy was one of the greatest or fervent Christians you've ever heard of. You don't want to thank him for Thanksgiving? Why? Okay, well, you got to give thanks to him for Easter, because your family members celebrated the return of the sun in Easter, and that's why the so-called Easter can be in March or April. Somebody can't die in 2 different months. How is that possible? Nobody don't want to address that. And what about this Geezis from the Ojibwe word, meaning sun, meaning the sun? Yeah, I got a nose hair, so what? I'm pouring concrete, so I might have dust on my face and everything. That's all right. It ain't gonna stop it. You'll be all right. Yeah, man. That's just what it is. That's what it is. I mean, so now the question is, what's next? What do we do? Continue this movement, come together, right, and create our own. They had to use the agent, Nature Boy. They had to use him so that he could be like this little Jim Jones type of thing. And it's like, look, you Negroes, you got your own little thing. You don't know how to act. Look at him. Now we're gonna send in the clowns. I mean, send in the law enforcement to go break up their thing. But for the most part, that is not what the Aboriginal movement is about. But they just sent a message saying, don't you try to create your own, because if you do, this is what's going to happen. And the charges they brought against them, trafficking and all of this, harboring people for the use to extort them or something like that, blah, blah, blah. This is what the birth certificate is. This is what the birth certificate is. Look up Capitis Diminutio Maxima. Look that up. All you got to do is put somebody's names in capital letters, and then you own them. If you wrote your name in capital letters in school, you'd fail, because they'd say, no, that's not you. But the government created a name in all capital letters, name, a fiction, and said it is you, and you accepted it. Your mother and father signed you over, right? You don't believe me? Well, that's fine. Look at all your government-issued documents and see if everything is in capital letters. And then next time you go to the cemetery and go visit one of your ancestors or even somebody else's ancestors, look at the headstone and see what the font is. That person is no more. That person does not exist. So this is why you must send notice that you're not lost at sea. Everything is about the water. Everything is lost at sea, lost in the water, blah, blah, blah. More, whatever. I don't know how they got here. I don't know where they came from. know if it was supernova 1054. I don't know if it was, they just came out of some cavern, some cave of the underworld, or what. Somebody left the gate open or whatever. But they're here, and they're here, and maybe they were mad wherever they landed. They landed in the middle of the water, so since they landed there, they're gonna get everybody else stranded, lost at sea. Judge tricks you. Hey, are you so and so? And if you don't spell your name correctly, then your name is a spell that is designed to cast a dark cloud, shadow, or death on you. Everything is spelled. Your name, so you have to cast good spells and respell all that has been cast on you. Newscasts, these are spells. Everything is a spell. It's said that the earth is supposed to be the hardest realm. It's all right, because we're coming together, and it's strong when those say if you some of these people who get so dewy-eyed against the Mongols and everything, but if you see them talking to a Mongol on their own platform, they're like, I'm the original man. You ain't. They'll scream on the Mongol, but if you say something, they'll say, you have to have patience. It's not fair for you to do that. Like, wait, go back to your video, the first or the second one. It was just saying you were just screaming on somebody the same way. But anyway, if you ask these same people, hey, listen, I want to put your head on this chopping block, and I need you to answer the question truthfully, or else you're going to lose your head. We have these people lined up, and these three different types of people are claiming to be Aboriginal and to be the Aboriginal people of the Americas. That would be the Aboriginal movement. That would be the Mongols. And then that would be the Caucasians who have some of the blood. If they said, who fits the description of the earliest descriptions and inscriptions and petroglyphs and glyphs on the walls, the murals, who fit that description the most or the best? The Aboriginals, the Caucasians, or the Mongoloids who have some of the blood? What would you say? What would you say? I know what you would say, because you wouldn't want to lose your head. But as an entertainer, as entertainers, people often lose their heads. And I just want to say this before I go. I want to say to all the brothers and sisters that the streets don't belong to us. And we don't belong to the streets. And bringing that street culture into the Aboriginal movement ain't gonna do it, right? They knew you was connected to the earth. They knew we was connected to the earth. They know we're supposed to protect it. We know we're supposed to protect it. They put a fake layer of earth over it. It's concrete. Con meaning faith. Crete, there's a word for earth. There's a fake earth. That concrete jungle, fake earth jungle, is where we existed. And guess what? Since they put that fake layer on earth, on our mother, we have become disconnected from each other. As a result, we sell drugs to one another. We kill each other. And then we get mad when it's brought up and say, well, squirrels kill squirrels, spiders kill spiders. Anybody, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But anybody else, nobody else is us. Everybody else loves us. Many people want to be us. But not everybody is us. So we have to accept the greatness that we have been awarded and get on this mission of this aboriginal resurrection. Get back on the right direction. There's going to be roadblocks. Even on your red road, there's going to be roadblocks. But those blocks are there for a reason. You'll find in a lot of the Mayan culture, a lot of the stuff was all about trickery. 1 Hunapu and 7 Hunapu, they were killed. But the twins, the sons, Exbalunk and Hunapu, they avenged the hero twins. They avenged the death. They was playing ball and they angered the lords of the underground because they all wanted to play ball. All they wanted to do was play ball and shoot dice. Who that sound like? But anyway, but in order for them to get past these lords of the underworld, they needed nature. They needed fireflies. They needed ants. They needed mosquitoes. The mosquitoes would bite each and every one of the deities and get the names that they needed. This stuff is allegory, but it allows you to see things in the proper perspective. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. All I'm saying is put the street stuff down and let's ascend. Let's put this. Let's get this mental up. Let's get this mind game up. Let's get back to who we were, what we were. When you start studying the Creek, the Cherokee, all of this stuff, we haven't changed much. And again, those are fiction names. We know that those are fiction names, but those are the designations now. A lot of tribes were absorbed into those. In closing, you'll never find any you can't find a moral who can answer any question. You can't find a preacher who can answer any question. You can only find them creating more and more confusion. And as you ask them questions, they get angry and they run. And I get my answers and my questions from the sun. But I still don't want nobody to believe me. We all on a journey. We're all on a journey. But, I meditate. I take 3 days without eating. I just stare at the sun at noon. And on the way down. We got to reconnect to nature. That's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it. Start growing our own stuff. Get our own community. Tribe unities. We can't bring the streets with us. We can't bring that anger that's been created through those capacitors, man. Those capacitors and those churches are capacitors too, with the resonators on the top. All of these marches that they send you and stand right in front of the obelisks so that energy can go straight to their deities. All this beautiful energy that you possess that you have no idea. You were sent here via God to be God. Experience enjoying pizza, experience enjoying macaroni and cheese, whatever else. You here, we here. Enjoy each other. Enjoy this existence. Fix right these wrongs. That's why we outswam 400 million brothers and sisters to do that, to right these wrongs, to break the generational curses. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Break the generational curses. That's all we got, man. That's all we got. So anyway, getting over a little cold, but I got that sea moss that helped me, that chlorophyll that helped me, that black seed oil helped me. I just got the sniffles or whatever. A my little girl, she'll be 5 tomorrow. She had a little cough and everything, but that's all right. She's getting better as well. But anything that comes from the earth, I'll eat it. I'll try it. That's what it's all about. All right, peace and love to the tribe. And this Aboriginal movement is such a beautiful thing. Let's leave the streets alone, though. Let's drop their streets. They know you was ready to protect the earth, so they put the concrete down, tricked you into attacking your allies. We allies against all lies, man. We out here, and we shutting it down. We shutting it down, but we're bringing it back up. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Let me tell you, Kevin Samuels is the welfare check for the male ego. All right, leave him alone. Leave him alone. You see, there's one of them two spirits going on with him. Not only that, but he hates the natural woman, and especially the woman with curves. And he hates her. And you'll hear him trying to tear them down. Not saying what he's saying is wrong, but how he's saying it is wrong. You don't demoralize somebody while you have the opportunity for a teachable moment. You don't do it, especially not the earth. Especially not the earth. Nah, you don't do that. You don't do that. It's not what you do. It just sounds like a pimp. Sounds like he's preparing to get somebody to go on the stroke. Once you got them in the mind, you good, all right? If you read the Iceberg Slim and the Donald Goines novels, you know all about that. You know what it looked like. You've been around it. You've seen it. You've done it. Whatever. So, don't feed into that. It's our duty to make reparations with each other. The only way we can get reparations from the government is if they leave. All of them. Take the entire system gone. That's the only way, right? But then we've been so messed up and of course, we'll be begging to have them come back to help us out. Because you'll be wilding out. But when you get back into your right mind, see, that's what it's about. Getting back into the right mind and the right body. And you get the woman back in her right mind. She's got software that is holding on to all of the pain that was inflicted to her because we accepted for value this European way of life. And as we did that, we allowed her to be raped, demoralized, spit on, and treated like crap, and said bow down to men who want to be women. And I say this with all due respect, nothing against anybody, but I don't hold my tongue for anybody. All rights reserved. You get all these people who give more love and get more dewy-eyed about somebody, transforming from what they were. Just imagine, how they see the people in the Aboriginal community. If they told them that they was going to change their sexual identity, you get all kind of support. Oh, you're so awesome. You're so brave. Yeah, you know what? I'm wearing I just ordered me a feather crown from Organic Copper Collective. You know what I'm saying? I just got this. What you doing with that on? You ain't no Indian chief. I'm the chief of myself. What are you talking about? I wore baseball hats my entire life. You ain't never said nothing. You ain't never said I need to play for a baseball team. I wore basketball hats my entire... nothing. As soon as I become the sui juris, as they say in the Latin, or chief of myself, in order to be a better Indian, you get into a frenzy. Man, listen, pick the woman up, find out who she was, show her how she would take a cold bath every morning as a Creek woman, and which angered the settlers, and that kept her healthy. Talk about, the Anacawanas. Talk about the Weedamoos. Talk about these women who were warriors, the Califia. Talk about the Amazons. Talk about the woman who, and it's not about going to war and shooting, fighting, and beefing. No, this is about going to war with yourself, with your wants, your needs. That lower self. Kill the lower self. That's the only sacrifice you need to do. Kill the lower self. Ascend higher. Higher. Put her back on the crocodile. Put her back on the crocodile. Or the alligator. Or whatever it was. On the front of that copper engraving. Put her back where she belongs. And let's get this work. Kugeyu wado mato. Acholagi aklakwejida. Let's respecting our elders, you know, and let's just move, man. Just keep moving. All right.